morning. Let me just put that there. Okay, fantastic. Let me put my glasses on. I don't hear as well if I'm not wearing my glasses. Thank you all for being here to cover the Mayor's Conference. As you know, from the beginning of my tenure as mayor, I thought it was very important to communicate on an ongoing basis with people that live in the city of Las Vegas and all of the Las Vegas Valley. And I really appreciate you covering this press conference because I think people have a right to know what's happening with their elected officials and what's happening in City Hall. So thank you so much. There's a couple of remarks I'd like to make before we open it up. And you know my policy. You may ask me anything, and I will do my best to answer it on any topic. This is a very exciting day for the city of Las Vegas. It is our 120th anniversary. Now, I wasn't there 120 years ago, but I am so excited for this. As you know, on May 15th, 1905, the railroad auctioned off parcels of land, and that was the creation of the city of Las Vegas. I would say, without fear of contradiction, we've come a very long way in the last 120 years, and I'm very excited to have played a very small part in our growth and development over the years. This evening, I'm going to be at the Circa. They're going to be having a panel discussion with a number of people in town that have been here for quite a while and have been serving the public for quite a while. So it should be a very lively and informative discussion. And of course, everybody is welcome to attend. I love this town, and the fact that 120 years ago, we were just a little dusty railroad spot to look out my window and see what's happening now in the exact same geographic area. Very, very exciting, and I believe the best is yet to come. The second thing I'd like to talk to you about or just mention is a Friday night I had the opportunity to go to the Plaza Hotel. As you know, we're trying to drive business to downtown Las Vegas and have people enjoy everything that's available on Fremont Street and in the Fremont Street experience. I was at the Plaza Hotel Friday night. From now until the very end of August, there are fireworks every Friday night that come from the Plaza Hotel. Starts at 9:15. It was a hoot and a half. I just loved it, and the entire cast of their show came to help me hit the button, which would start the fireworks. And I understand from Derek Stevens and others that they really appreciate what the Plaza is contributing to the excitement of Fremont Street. And the fireworks are accessible, and you can see them throughout the city of Las Vegas, but particularly if you happen to be on Fremont Street on Friday night at 9:15. It's a very, very cool show. So I was very happy to be a part of it. I do want to make a comment about the young lady, the 18-year-old student, Mackenzie Scott, who was killed by a drunk driver. This is 11 o'clock in the morning, right in front of her school. From what I understand, she was at school in order to pick up her cap and gown for graduation, which very unfortunately she will not be attending. I send my sincerest condolences to her parents. I cannot imagine the pain that they are experiencing right now. And on behalf of the entire city of Las Vegas, I want to offer our collective condolences. I know that there is a petition to encourage the city to implement more safety measures. Some safety measures have already been implemented. And as you know, the city is doing a traffic study to find out what more we can do to keep our children safe. So I just want everybody to know that we are taking this seriously, but I also want to use this tragedy to encourage people to drive carefully. If you are inebriated, and from what I understand, the man that perpetrated this this horror was at 11 o'clock in the morning, had 3 times the legal limit of alcohol in his system. If you are going to drink, don't drive. There are so many other options. Call a friend. Go sleep it off somewhere. Take an Uber or a Lyft, but don't get behind the wheel. It is a tragedy that will be with you for the rest of your lives and will certainly be with the people that you harm. And 100% preventable, and I think that's what's so tragic about this. In addition to that, and I've said this before, a red light is not a suggestion to stop. And if you talk to Metro, they will tell you that it seems that people are driving very erratically in the city, or I suspect throughout our community. And this also is preventable. It is causing crashes and causing pain and injury, and there is no need for it. There is nobody busier than I am. But I know when I see that light going yellow and then red, I stop. And I'm eventually going to get to my destination, but I'd like to get to my destination in one piece. And I encourage everybody else in the city to just behave responsibly. It's taking so many resources from the city in order to patrol the streets and stop people and take and go to crash scenes, and none of this is necessary. So I'm asking to please act responsibly and don't drink and drive. Don't go through red lights and stop speeding in neighborhoods. We're getting lots and lots of complaints, and we're going to be cracking down on these traffic violations. And in order to avoid that, don't do it. Simple as that. Animal Foundation is having some challenges right now. They are experiencing extraordinary overpopulation. A lot of the animals that are in the Animal Foundation right now are pets. And if you have a missing pet, before you do anything, contact the Animal Foundation. Chances are they will have your pet. But if you are looking to adopt an animal, please, by all means, go to the Animal Foundation. They have an abundance of animals. Many of them are very well trained because they're family pets. And I encourage people, again, if you want your pet back, go and check with the Animal Foundation to make sure that before you do anything else, that they may have your pet. If you want to adopt a pet, this is a good time to do it. And I think you'll have a forever friend if you do that. Last weekend, I participated in a spay and neutering event for feral cats. The cats with Hearts Alive and Heaven Can Wait. The city partnered with them to provide funding so that they can do this. We spayed and neutered 300 pets, 150 on Friday, not pets, I'm sorry, feral cats, 150 on Friday, 150 on Saturday. We capture the volunteers go out and capture the feral cats. They come into the facility. They're either spayed or neutered, and they're cared for and then released back into the streets from where they came. This way, we're really going to help control the animal population, which is a little bit out of control, and we're doing everything we can to alleviate misery and suffering with these animals. So that's another thing that the city has promised to do, and we are, in fact, living up to our promises. And with that, I think I'll take a breath and answer any questions that you may have. Feel free.
Thank you so much for hosting this. You just talked about a traffic study, and the city will crack down on drunk drivers and speeders. What does that look like, both a traffic study and the city's enforcement?
The traffic study has been ongoing before this tragedy occurred, and there will be a presentation to the City Council telling us exactly what measures, if any, the city should be taking in order to make our streets safer, particularly around schools. I visit Berkley Elementary School on an ongoing basis, and look, you've got a lot of little ones running across the street. You've got a lot of cars, a lot of parents or guardians picking up their kids, and it can be a little chaotic. What, if anything, can the city do to help protect these children? And it's not only elementary school, as we've seen, but it could happen in at a high school as well, where the children are quite a bit older. And again, we can't control bad human behavior. If somebody has 3 times the legal limit at 11 o'clock in the morning in their system and they're driving erratically, I don't know if there is any measure that any city can take to stop that, but we have to. We have to do everything we can. And I know there's a petition that the students are circulating. I may not sign that petition, but I'm very aware of it, understand why, and we'll do everything we can to help make our streets safer.
The other question I wanted to ask you was about the Neon Museum.
Oh, yes.
What other properties and casinos is the museum working with for possible relocation?
Okay, this is my understanding, and you know I am very anxious to keep the Neon Museum downtown. I know they can't stay in their current location, not a great location, but in addition to that, they've run out of space. From what I understand, they display about 250 of Las Vegas history signs. They've got 900 in storage. And so they would like a larger facility and perhaps a better location to display all the extraordinary signs that that Las Vegas is very famous for. Now, they have a board of directors that will ultimately have to pull the trigger and make up their mind where they're going to relocate, if in fact they end up relocating, which I understand is their desire. What I also understand is they have gotten it's down to 3 possible locations. 1 is in the county, 2 are in the city. I know that Derek Stevens has offered the Neon Museum the event center, where they would reinforce the roof, and the Neon Museum would be located up there. Fabulous location. We have 22 million visitors on Fremont Street every year. The idea that they will have another venue to visit, how cool is that? So I'm very excited about that. There's also another very good location practically across the street, the Plaza Hotel. And I know the Plaza Hotel is very interested in having the Neon Museum relocate to their property. The reality is this. The city is very supportive. We want to keep them there. We're going to do everything we can to help. But in the end, the Neon Museum is a separate entity from the city, and their board their governing body is going to have to make the determination. I hope that they pull the trigger quickly, because I would love to start moving forward on this.
Were you made privy at all to why they withdrew that $2 million request from the city centennial?
I don't know, but I would think this. The Centennial Commission has been very supportive of the Neon Museum. That I know. I think they're waiting to see what location they're going to choose, and that it's a real thing that they're moving before they step up to the plate. So I think it was a matter of timing, is that this is a little premature. Where are you going, and what exactly do you need, and why do you need it? And so it was more or less, I think the timing was not quite right.
The last question I had is just about, there's this Harlem Nights thing seems to be divisive amongst people in the community. There's concerns over who the developer is and what they're doing. What are your thoughts on this Harlem Nights project? It's going to come before the City of Las Vegas Council in June.
Yes, I think the second meeting in June, it's going to be up before us. Look, I did not attend the Planning Commission meeting, but I heard it was quite robust. And were you there?
No, I wasn't there. I watched it.
Okay, so it got a little bit hectic. From what I understand, a majority of the people that were there spoke in favor of it. There are people that are naysayers. You know, I am very committed, as I said in my State of the City address and while I was campaigning. I want to develop the historic West Side. My family's lived here for over 60 years. I've been hearing about the revitalization of the West Side for over 60 years now. And frankly, I'm done talking about it. I'm done with all of this. Let's get it done. This would be a remarkable project if we can get it to work in that neighborhood. There's a lot of complaints about the building being too tall, too high. That's something that the developer is going to have to determine whether they can, in fact, do all of the things that the neighbors want and that our rules and regulations in the city have an expectation that all developers will adhere to. I, for one, I mean, if you know that the developer has stepped up and said that 10% of the proceeds of the earnings will be plowed back into the community, which I think is wonderful. I would like to see more of that and more growth and development. Is this the project that will pull the trigger and start serious development down in the Jackson Street area? I don't know. But I am looking forward to doing a deep dive on this issue and supporting it if I feel that it's appropriate for the neighborhood or not. And I think a lot of the city council people are in the same position I am, just waiting to hear. But I do understand that it was quite a chaotic meeting.
Anyone have any other questions? All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate
But
it.
you're not going to wait. They're letting me off way too easy, Dave. His job is to get me off as quickly as possible. But did you have a question?
I'm good.
Oh, you're good. Here. Okay. All right. Nothing else? In that case, thank you very much and happy birthday, happy anniversary, City of Las Vegas. We love you.